Alrighty, we're live. We'll wait for some people to join now. Jennifer's here, Disney Park Travels. Ready to jump in? Okay. Hey guys, everyone's joining here. Sorry about that. Apparently YouTube changed how you set up everything on the computer, so we ended up with a phone. Do you want to just hold the phone and I can
can't hear. Get that sound probably.
Oh. Well, we don't need to hear. The questions are coming in and I have questions on my phone here. You want to hold this? Let me know. Here's Ed, everybody.
But they can't hear. I can't hear them.
Yeah, they're not talking to you, they're writing to us. I'm gonna ask you questions.
That's gonna hurt me really badly.
Okay, I can stand it up for you.
Why don't you just do that?
I can't. Computer wasn't working, so I can do this. All right. There we go. And I'll kind of just lean into you. So I'm gonna jump into our stream here on my phone, and I have some questions for you.
Should we hear them?
No, because they're just typing in. It's not a chat. All right, so everyone's saying hi. Britt's there. Jennifer Kintz is online with us.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so one of the questions that came in for you.
You're not on.
I am. Oh, one of the questions that came in for you from Instagram. So Alan Lambie from Instagram asked you, do we know what the tumor was, if it was benign or not, and was it totally removed? Do you want to answer that one?
The way they do it now is it doesn't matter partially what kind of cancer it is. They treat it differently than they did even a couple of years ago. At least that's the way they told us, was that they go and remove it fully out if they can. And this type of tumor with resection, they could just go and cut it all out. So we don't know exactly whether or not it was, help me?
Low grade or advanced grade. They think it's low grade still based on all the evidence.
Right.
So in the past, those tumors weren't found as early until they were causing problems. So they didn't usually see them. They now know that they progress into cancer down the road. So they treat them as malignant starting right now because they find them earlier by accident, like they found yours.
And that's relatively new.
Yep.
They used to take time to monitor it. Now they just say, if it's early, they just treat it as aggressively as possible and remove it all out.
So the goal of your surgery was to do the most possible safe resection. So that's why the doctor did the functional MRIs. And Alan, if you're on now, because I know you were hoping to join, the tumor was considered in the follow-up radiology to be a total or near total removal. So that's awesome news.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
Yep, so even still, the chances are that they will have to go with radiation and chemo because that's just how you treat these cancers in general. So they'll probably do that for Ed as well.
Yeah.
All right. Someone is asking me how I'm doing. I'll jump into a little bit about caregiving in a little bit, but I'll just say it's stressful. I shouldn't be as equipped as I am, but because of my history, I am. And nobody should have to do what I do, but I'm happy to do it for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, there's things coming up too.
Yep, I'm taking care of that.
I think no matter, even if you were a surgeon, you shouldn't have to work on the surgeon of your own patient. And so those are a lot of things that are very frustrating for me, is that Jason is, standing there for an hour while we're trying to bathe me, and standing there for an hour when I need my medicine at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock and whatever time I'm taking, which is we're starting to learn at least a pattern of time. But unfortunately, the way the system is, at least here, and I think a lot of places even, is you deal with it, and then they almost, the center has been great to us, but it was sort of, well, it can be more disruptive if you have a stranger come in and do it, to come in and maybe,
They're bringing germs from other people's houses, is what they were saying.
Right. which I understand all those logistics, but my side is it's not fair for anybody to have to be a caregiver to somebody else.
Mhm.
And I think that's sort of, it's really unfair that someone can't just take this off of you with everything else you have to do. I mean, at 3 o'clock in the morning, giving a medicine is one thing. Scrubbing me, like things are just a very like
Yeah.
they act as though it's very routine and very easy, but they're not the ones doing it.
Yep. All right, I'm going to jump off camera for a minute to delete the other stream, but I'll leave you with a question to answer. So let me get you the person who asked it. And guys, feel free to
can't read
throw.
it.
Oh, I'm going to read it to you. Feel free to throw questions in the chat. I'll kind of scroll back through and give them to Ed. But I'm totally going to ruin this name. But Meganzer15 from Instagram wanted to know for you, is there any advice that you would now give your pre-diagnosis self? I know you and I have been talking a lot
Yeah.
of things if you knew before, you know.
Yeah,
And I'm going to jump off camera.
sure. My main thing is almost, and this is a strange symptom or strange response. I'm almost fortunate that I did not look into it much. I think that that's a weird thing to say when you're about to go through brain surgery. But for us, I think if I had psyched myself up and gotten really like, read the packet 3 times and felt like I knew at every step, I probably would have had a small piece of me that said, that's scary, and could have even, I'm getting confused.
It would have prevented you from doing
I would have gotten prevented of going through what I actually need to go through. And so I'm kind of glad that our the way we processed it was, look at it today, let's treat it. Get the brain tumor out, then we'll go to the next thing, then we'll go to the next thing, let's go to the next thing. And so I don't know if there's a wrong or right way to go about it. Some things were definitely more of a mystery for us than I think we were prepared for. But I'm glad that for us, our first thing was get this tumor out of us. And give us as much as you could, basically, to get me home. And then say, oh, okay, well, great. Now I'm being like, oh, of course you're going to open my skull and that's going to hurt. Or maybe I'm going to deal pain. Or maybe I'm going to be groggy or confused or whatever. But my basic answer is trust the doctor. If you feel confident enough, trust the doctor to do their thing. Trust the nurse. And just go for it. Because if I had read it 3 times and gotten myself psyched up out of it, I may not have gone for something that truly could not save my life. That's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. And for me, after the surgery, sitting and reading the paperwork that we probably should have read beforehand, it was nice to not know it, but to have it as a reassurance. Like when Ed is saying, I feel this, or whatever it might be. Or
Yeah.
it was like, oh yeah, the paperwork said you would, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So reassuring for us was better than knowing ahead of time, because you didn't have a choice in whether or not you were going to do the recovery if you were going to do the surgery. So we went into it blinder than we should, but we did it.
Probably did, which is, I'm very methodical usually, and I like to look everything 3 times, and I couldn't this time, but maybe this is the one time where I didn't need to. It didn't matter. Our first thing was, we need to be alive to make it to the next step. So it was probably good that I didn't know that there was some pain or confusion, because those are also things that potentially are temporary, whereas the tumor would not have
It would
been.
have been permanent and been life-taking.
Right.
All right, so we'll take a pause. I'm just going to give you a whole bunch of, everyone is saying they're blown away by how good your speech is, despite what you say.
Okay.
Every day is getting better and better. Britt from Practically Perfect Park Hopping wishes she could be there to hug us both right now. Here's a question in the stream here from Negro. And he said, or she said, what do you think is the best what do you think is the best tip for people with your symptoms? And I think I'll adjust the question because Ed didn't have any symptoms of the tumor, if that's what you meant. But talking about your treatment, what's the best tip you have coming out of all of this?
Well, I will quickly say one thing is, there's the adage of you know your body better than anybody knows your body. And we were sort of on a weird path for a couple of years of, just feeling symptoms that didn't quite feel great, that they weren't necessarily these symptoms, but my body knew something wasn't right for a couple of years. And I had fantastic doctors before that, they wouldn't have caught it. It just happened to be deep enough in the brain that you wouldn't have even looked on it. I wasn't presenting any of the real symptoms. So I think it was just sort of, if you know it, you can always talk to your doctor. What's the worst they're going to do is tell you, no, it's okay, or no, it's, whatever. I think I'm getting confused.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit in here. So as I think we mentioned in one of the videos, we found out from the doctor, your tumor had maybe been there 5-10 years.
Yeah, 5-10 years.
So you have been chasing symptoms that could have been a number of other things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that always happens when we all Google our symptoms and search on WebMD is before you know it, you have brain cancer.
Yes.
In this case, all of your symptoms could have been caused by your brain cancer. So it's continuing to chase, or not. We might still be chasing, fibromyalgia. But knowing your body and knowing that whatever it is, something's not right, and continuing to pursue it, but also take care of your preventative care. So you have appointments this week alone. You were supposed to see the rheumatologist, the neurologist, and the ophthalmologist who sent you for the original CT. So just taking care of yourself with all the doctors that can treat the symptoms you're having, eventually you'll find something. So that self-care and that, preventative care is very important for whatever symptoms you have.
And also don't forget, if you're dealing with this year after year after year and continuously, you're like, well, this could just be you. It could be your baseline energy level. Maybe that's when you need to be talking to another doctor too, I think. Just like get a second opinion, because 2 or 3, 4 doctors are saying something's wrong, and they may be great, great, great doctors, but not be noticing the one thing that you need. It actually took a cancer specialist to really see there was something, an actual tumor.
Yep. Actually, and even when you went for the CT and they said to you, there's a mess in your brain, go to the ER, we were kind of expecting that. But even in the ER with the CT, they couldn't read what it was.
No.
There was something on the CT in your brain.
No.
So it was kind of, you have to keep just pursuing. So you made it as far to learning that there was something in your brain, which both of us weren't surprised by with the symptoms you were chasing, but you keep going until you get those answers.
Yeah.
So to anyone who has ailments, even things like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue type things where people say, oh, that's a fake disease, or oh, you're just lazy.
No.
I used to joke around with Ed about that, full well knowing what he was going through, but don't ever let anyone discourage you from knowing when something's not right with your own body.
Sure, you know your body. It's like when you feel nauseous 10 minutes before someone else does, because the food poisoning's already getting to you, and you're like, well, maybe I just ate something weird, and it's no, that your body already knows.
You're going to do your own denial anyway, but keep pursuing it despite your denial.
Yeah, just you're your only number one advocate. So it's kind of the burden of proof is on the doctors to tell you that's not true. I think. Sometimes.
Yeah, like something's wrong, they need to tell you what it isn't until you find.
It's not their fault.
Yep.
They're doing everything. It's just they wouldn't have checked.
They wouldn't have had a reason to check your brain until you had an eye problem. Why would they? Yep. All right, I'll take this next question, give you a little break if you want. So, Jennifer Kintz.
Okay.
Also, Jennifer, I just want to shout out to you. I don't know if it was on Instagram or on our video the other day. Your recognition of me, the caregiver, and working together with Ed. Oh, yeah. I was reading those comments to him as we were both, heading off to bed across the room from one another. And that made our night to go to sleep the other night. So we'll jump to caregiving in a little bit, but everyone who's been commenting on that, thank you so much. Again, this isn't a job I should have to do, but I do it.
Yep.
So Jennifer was wondering, and I'll answer this one, how long do they think till you have your function like reading again? On discharge day, one of the first things they did when they moved, or before they moved Ed out of ICU into a regular room, was physical therapy and occupational therapy came in. Physical therapy, no problems. He moves, he's been walking out to the mailbox. Occupational therapy noticed the deficits that he's having.
Deficit.
Did I say that wrong?
You did.
I have language problems too. We haven't been sleeping great.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to her more about detail about it, because I had been sitting with you for the morning, she wasn't concerned because a lot of it is the medications you're on, the anesthesia you were on that's still clearing your system.
Still.
A lot of it is the swelling. You're having swelling under your scalp.
Yeah.
You're having swelling in your brain still. So all of that they want to resolve, and the medications you're on, like Oxy and all that. So yeah, Ed's on narcotics right now, weaning off of them nicely already. So all of that needs to clear his system to go for the 2-week follow-up, and then they'll decide what deficits are actually there. But the good news is the surgeon knew what areas he was touching on because of the functional MRI and the 3D mapping. And it's all secondary skills in the part of the brain where you have the tumor. So we all can see you're able to talk. Refinement of sentences is the secondary skill. Reading. So they'll assess you again at your follow-up, and they'll determine whatever you need. Yeah, I can move that a little bit.
If you could pick it up a little bit, but
I'm just gonna move the camera
sorry,
quickly.
just so I realize I'm doing this, and as great as that's fine. 20 minutes or a year ago that would have been easy. 6 weeks ago that would have been easy. Now it's harder for me to stretch.
That actually lets
Thank
me
you.
be an easier too. We can say, there we go.
Oh, look, both of us.
Again, for everyone joining us, the computer didn't
thank you,
work,
by
so
the
we
way.
jumped on the phone. And thank you
for
joining.
anybody. It's kind of weird that people are watching us. I'm sorry, what were we saying?
So I was just wrapping that one up about your reading coming back. We have to wait till you go to the doctor.
You know, it's that you're gonna see that pattern repeat over and over. For me, it's they don't know everything yet because they can't even really get past all the medicine and everything. But honestly, it's first things first was get the tumor out. Then we go this. Then we go do that. You know, and I worked for a long time in children and adults with disabilities and things like that. So, and I'm going to be, as you would expect, I'm going to be very, very strict to myself and hold myself to the highest standards I can be. Even though the doctor does not have that standard, you know, I want to be doing everything the first day.
Just to give an example of what Ed's talking about. So he worked with children on the autism spectrum doing reading fluency for a decade. The minute I think it was the first day we were home, you gave me the website to go to, print out this curriculum.
I can't read it, but I know what to do. I memorized the symptom or the websites because this is what I did.
Yep.
This is something that I was passionate because other people couldn't do. And I needed to at least say, hey, can you really look at this read? No idea what it says.
Yep, but
you're
doing better because you're even sitting and watching TV and watching the news, and you're able to get contextually your language is coming back to what you're looking at when you're familiar with it more than I think even you realize.
Yeah, I mean.
So, and everyone's been saying that here. Your language is getting better every day.
It's clearer.
Ooh, I want to touch on this one. So, String Sun, if you're still on the stream with us, they said, I feel getting sick in the US is scary unless you have insurance. I live in the UK, so free healthcare spoils us. I'm going to jump to that one first. So without getting political here, I worked in healthcare for a long time, and it's going to take us...
You've done a lot.
Yeah, we've had multiple lives. It's going to be a big shift for us to get to healthcare for all type of thing without going into detail. But one thing I will say is we have great insurance. Fortunately, from my company that I work for, who has been fantastic to us. Even with all of our health expenses, basically, we know what they're going to be. They're very predictable with my insurance. The system's still broken. The fact that you didn't have a home health aide, the fact that even though you had a zero copay for that first CT that found this mass,
they wanted
to charge him $249 because they said, oh, you have a deductible. Well, Ed and I know enough. We called the insurance ahead of time to confirm that even with contrast, it was zero. He fought with them to where they said, all right, we'll bill you. But anyone else, and us on principle, Ed almost walked out that day just because he knew it was wrong. Could you imagine if we didn't find this or if he couldn't afford to find it?
I'm pretty strong in my beliefs anyway. I think that, you know, again, we won't get too political with things, but I think when you are denying basic care to medical things that actually may be killing you, it's time for a change.
Yep.
So that's my own opinion. I think for me, I'd rather pay way more out of my salary for all of us to have access to it and maybe save, if literally 5 people a year got that surgery before it was too late, it was worth it to me.
But even still, the broken part, even when we get health coverage for all, it's still our systemic way of looking at things. Yep.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. In other countries, that may not be something that they would even have to worry about. It's let's get you in for the appointment. Us, it says, even if we're $250 for different days, that can be a lot of money.
Yep. All right, I want to read you some feedback from people that have been commenting in. Oh, Give me 1 second because Ed's water is holding up the the camera. So here's that. Let me put this behind it instead. That'll hold it. Okay. So while you're taking your break there, Shally01964 says, inspired by you, doing so much every day. I know there was another comment from that person, I feel like, too. Oh, yeah. So that's how they found their cancer. The person kept hearing gurgling in their chest. The doctor dismissed it as congestion and allergies. They made him give them an x-ray, and it was lymphoma. So glad they listened to themselves. So again,
yes, you know,
push it, push it, push it.
Because, again, that's not just to dismiss the doctors. They're brilliant, brilliant doctors. Let's just be completely honest that we couldn't understand a single word that they say because they're so smart.
They're only with you for 5 minutes. You're
with
right. You the rest of the 24 hours.
For a short period of time. I will not dismiss the doctor. I've had great doctors and I've had fantastic doctors. But things get missed. It just happens.
It's like we're home. So that's another thing I want to point out. Even if you don't have a caregiver like a spouse or anything, always take someone to more advanced appointments with you. So your general appointments, you can go by yourself. But when you're going to a specialist, take an extra set of ears. Because one of the things that I can always do is when Ed's getting news that he wasn't expecting, I have information that I can share. I know how you are day in and day out. And then when we get home, I can tell you what the doctor said because you weren't going to remember all of it when it's not routine.
Yeah, or you become your own barrier too. Sometimes I think people become afraid to speak up because you don't want to, for lack of a term, you may feel like you're bothering the doctor.
Oh, also something you do is when you start to tell your symptoms, you then finish the sentence, but maybe it's nothing because blah, blah, blah. So you're like, I've been having headaches, but I've had headaches for a long time. Well, the headaches might have been important to finding this.
Maybe I've been feeling tired for 5 years because I had a brain tumor. But
you dismiss it. I'm not super active.
But they can only know as much as you tell, whereas that friend, bring a friend with you. Worst case, you buy them a $5 lunch somewhere and they came and sat for 5 minutes with you at that appointment. Their only job is to advocate for you, where people will naturally say, well, it's not really worth dismissing their time or running short, So use your people.
All right. Come on, guys. Toss in some other questions. All right. You want to talk a little bit about, do you want to give a little bit of our history and why we're able to caregive for each other? Do you want to touch on that today or no?
You start.
Okay. So.
Loosely.
Oh, my father's on the stream, so he's going to love hearing this history. So when I was a kid, growing up, my brother and I had to deal with my mother who had psychiatric disorder. And she had bipolar disorder, among other things. But every couple of years, we knew mom was due for an episode, which meant there was going to be a short hospitalization. She was going to come home and recover. But every time after one of these episodes, my mother bounced back. The problem is, just like sending a patient home with the sutures on the side of your head there, they always sent my mother home too early, which meant when we were younger, my father had to drive her around, get her to appointments, get her to her therapy or whatever it was that she was doing. As I got to be a young adult and an adult, I started doing those appointments with her. I had to drive, and every time it was the same routine. As my mother started to get cleared to drive by the doctor, she was scared. As she was able to go to, her group classes again to help her get ready to go back to work, she was scared and didn't want to do it. A lot of what you've been facing, you'll never be able to do it again. My mother would never be able to drive again. And then ultimately she'd be back to working and doing her own routine again. And she was independent. And then another episode would come about. And one of the biggest things that I learned is I had to advocate for her to get the care that she and I knew that she needed. So a lot of times I'd be sitting in the hospital with a psychiatrist, a social worker, a medical doctor, and they'd all say, so we think we're going to discharge your mother this Friday. And it would always be a holiday weekend where Monday or Tuesday was a holiday.
Yeah, always.
And I would say, and I would sit there and I'd look at my mother and I'd say, full well knowing this was going to piss her off. And I would say, Mom, don't you think it would be better to stay the long weekend? And you'll have the care here if you need it because your doctors won't be in until Wednesday. And my mother would get so angry that she'd kind of basically go off the deep end. And I'd kind of go like this and say, have a nice day, doctors, and leave the room because I exhibited for them that she still needed care. So one of the worst things that I ever had to do in my life was manipulate my own mother to show that she still required care. But from that, I learned the same thing that we were talking about, is the doctors see you for 5 minutes, even inpatient. The doctor comes in, the doctor leaves and goes to the next patient.
Yes.
You need to tell them a little bit of what you're thinking and what you need. Subsequent to mom's, psychiatric issues, which is where I learned a lot of this, my mother also had to have a hip repair when she fell. And it was here in Florida, we were living in New York. So I had to fly home with her after that repair was done. And then we learned, because my mother left the hospital in Florida and flew home, they couldn't do in-home physical therapy for her hip. She had to go to a physical therapy facility every day or whatever. And it was winter. So you start to realize our system's broken and I have to learn how to advocate. Fast forward, my mother had breast cancer, not once, not twice. The first time it was terrifying for her. The second time she looks at the surgeon and says, give me the scissors, let's just do this right now.
Yeah.
So my mother had this spirit of all these things that were gonna come to her, she was just gonna battle through them. And she did till, she's passed away now, but she did till the last day she lived. My mother drove herself to dialysis, again, now facing kidney failure, living in Arizona, drove herself to dialysis, comes home and says, I don't feel great, I think I'm gonna go to the hospital, and knew that she was gonna go to the hospital and pass away. But drove herself to and from dialysis that morning. So my mother is the spirit that we look at now of, you fight through it.
Yeah.
Ed also cared for my mother with the second breast cancer, the pacemaker, the dialysis, and all of the stuff at the end. And you also have a history.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell that?
Just, same idea. Like my mother also, basically how we met was my mother also had mental illness since I was a young child. And late onset, which doesn't sound late onset, but she was about 10.
You were 10.
Yeah, sorry. I was about 10 of her first episode. And, I think you do what you can do and you learn every day to just keep going and going and going. But you realize that really left an impact on a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's society is just, unfortunately, sometimes dismissive of what you have to do.
Yep.
Because it's, next patient, next thing, next whatever, and it's unfortunate, but...
And they assume the family, that because there's family,
we're all
you're going to be there available. We have no jobs.
We're all just geniuses who have the best doctors and nothing else to do than to care for people.
Yep. Which I wish we did. I wish we were a collective society.
But even if it weren't, I'm not a pediatrician. If we had a baby suddenly, I would have no idea what to do for a baby. I just wouldn't know.
Oh, there's a funny comment here that I want to read. Virginia Carr just said that...
There's a lot of comments about it.
There's a lot. I'm looking at them. My mother was like, until they tell me I can't fix it, I'm good. So basically just keep trucking along until they can't anymore. Yep. All right. You want to jump into it? So we'll touch more on our histories in future videos because obviously it's a lot for you to think about now to tell your story. That's why
I may have repeated myself a few times. That happens right now.
But needless to say, that makes us a caregiver or it makes us good
for life.
At caregiving.
You are, by the way, anybody is, the second you do it, you are for life.
Yep.
A parent, a mother, whatever. The second you become your identity shifts and you are now a caregiver, and that's everybody who's going to parent, whatever, a sick dog.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
To Disney fanatic, yes, I am taking care of myself as well. The caregiver has to. So we know that all too well. Ed made me go take like a whole spa day in the bathroom while he napped today. So I took a nice bath and a shower. And
stupid stuff that
this is the first time I'm dressed in clothes with my hair done.
I've never seen Jason. I don't think you've ever gone to a spa. What you call it?
Like massage or anything? Yeah.
Never in his life. He will not do it. Never.
I like keeping my tension here.
Yeah, right. He likes to be tight. I said, this time you're going when this is all said and done, and you're gonna go to wherever, the Grand Floridian or something stupid, and we're gonna find the budget, and you're gonna take a day.
Yep.
Because a couple of hours, when you really need it, it doesn't make it go away, but you need something.
Britt says yes, do the massage.
Yeah. You need a couple of hours. Is everything to somebody. Somebody who does it every day and we don't notice, then something special for them. It doesn't matter what it is. And I know friends who've done things as simple as when they have like a child have a young baby, and they go to Target. Just something to give yourself for you. That's it. That's it. Did you slip everything?
No, I got to take care of a user.
Oh.
Sorry about that, guys. I think did I delete the right person? Yeah, okay. People are always so friendly. So yes, and I will do a video that kind of shows you what I'm going through. I'm doing all of your medication, 10 bottles.
A lot.
There's a lot. Also, I may have blocked the wrong person because YouTube may have caught the comment that was in there. So if someone's trying to comment now that meant to, I apologize if I blocked you by accident. My hair looks good today. All right, let's see what else we got. We got some questions that came in. Jennifer had an interesting one. Okay, Jennifer says, so silly question, she's curious. What food is it that you were trying to eat the other day that tasted weird? What did it taste like?
A few things.
Yeah.
So I'm not even a fan of Frosted Flakes. I probably haven't had Frosted Flakes in 20 years.
But you wanted it in the hospital.
Oh, I
when you saw it
wanted
on the
them
menu.
so badly because they were on the menu. And I think that sounds great. I hate them. But there's a piece of me that did just enough research when I did this stuff was, help me.
I don't know.
You lost yourself.
The medication
okay.
or?
No.
I don't know where you're going with that. But you wanted Frosted Flakes because you were craving it.
Yeah, like an aversion. I was starting to have like an aversion to the taste. I was like, oh, this is gross. But I know if you get to the other side of an aversion, it's going to be a lot easier than if I was just grossed out by it. And it's fine. And we tried it one more time, and maybe it just turns out I don't love it that much. But, you know, I know people sometimes will say, like, chocolate suddenly they just don't like. I mean, I lose a lot of weight from it, but it's weird things that, you know, that would be hard for me, I think.
Right before the live stream, too, we were having a snack, and for some reason, we went through the refrigerator, and we're both like, ooh, let's have cottage cheese and then rice pudding. Like, we had the little cups of those.
I mean, not gross. I like those things.
I like those
together
things.
It's weird, yeah.
So that's what happened, is when I started opening them, you said, oh, no, I'm grossed out because I don't know which one you opened first, and it's freaking me out.
Yes.
So just because you didn't know which one you were smelling when I opened it, it's just stimulus is weird right now because your brain needs to process it.
There's like a million comments.
Yeah, there is. So here's a good one, which I think we can actually talk about this a little bit. Susan Thoroughman says, guys, have you considered going to a cancer support group?
Yes.
I'm going to spin that into the family advocate thing also that Moffitt has that we want to get involved in. So answer the cancer support group thing first if you want.
So we are working with Moffitt Cancer Center in
Tampa.
No.
Take a break. You want to chat for a minute?
Just finish it up.
So he went to Moffitt Cancer Center, which is down in Tampa.
Which people don't even know where that is.
Oh, yeah. It's about so I work in downtown Tampa, too. It's about an hour and 10 minutes from the side of Orlando that we're on. So it's actually an easier drive to Tampa than it is to downtown Orlando.
But so they have a few different options from either working with other peers, and you can actually do things. What I did think was really cool is, thank God, it is 2019, and you can actually have conversations with people
like FaceTime.
If that's all you need is a Skype conversation with people, just not a doctor, but a real person. Yeah, a real person. And maybe we can add that in after.
I can put these links in.
Yeah, we'll put the links in later. Because I liked it, because I didn't want to just talk to a doctor or things that I maybe wanted 2 weeks ago, now I don't want. So I love the idea that we can just reach out to, you know, a regular person who's gone through this, wherever stage they are in this, and sort of say, hey, let's talk. It sort of reminds me of people who do like AA or something where you have a sponsor.
And it's nationwide too.
Yes.
So even though we're here in Central Florida, Ed's person that you might talk to, it could be all the way in California, across the country, or me as caregiving. So
which by the way, sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need that 3 o'clock or 3 in the morning, and that's when you actually need upset. You know, so yeah, we'll leave links.
So I gotta find that info. I don't want to say the name because I don't know if I have them mixed up in my mind right now.
It was possible. There was a lot of stuff.
And then the other thing that Moffitt does specifically, which I found out when I was waiting for you from surgery, is they have like family advocates, people who went through the Moffitt experience and dealt with diagnosis. And we might want to get active in that. So one of the things Ed can do during his recovery, like I said, I work in downtown Tampa, he could be at Moffitt for a day providing inspiration to other people talking about his journey.
Not today.
So, no, but we're going to look into all that.
Yeah. So I think the main thing is you are only going to be as strong as you let yourself be. If you are not open and not letting people help you, that's where I think you start to have a breakdown. So as long as we're cool that maybe not today, maybe not 6 months, but when I suddenly need a symptom, need support, when I need support, that's when the people are out there.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. Also that makes complete sense. Like I said, in 2019, where we can reach out to strangers at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's when I'm upset.
You can send a message
Yeah.
or whatever. So, all right. Here's some interesting feedback. So Lewis Williams says, we don't have to respond to this too much, but I am notorious for not fighting for myself. I can fight for others, so it is important to take an advocate for you. Love how Ed says us and we when he's talking about what he's going through. So glad that you have each other. So something that is impossible for the two of us is when Ed is going through something, I will be his biggest advocate and not take care of myself. But vice versa. When I'm not feeling well, Ed will do everything to take care of me and neglect himself. So we are a great complement to each other, but we are also terrible for ourselves when we're helping each other. And we have to get better at that sure.
If Jason's struggling right now, how much can he do for me? Is part of that.
That's why you said to me today, you're going and taking an hour in the bathroom, do a bubble bath, do whatever you want, put music on.
You shouldn't even do.
Well,
but just, yeah.
So for everyone who's part of our Disney crew on here, I put a bath up for myself and I pulled up all the live stuff coming out of D23 from the parks panel today. So it was the right day for you to send me to a bubble bath. And I watched all the announcements coming out.
It's, I think if you're not, the first thing you have to do is take care 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, to look after the person who's really working on it. Because let's be honest, most of this, you're giving me medication, I'm going in and out. Jason does not get to stop. So
here's a good question on that when you're talking about going in and out and like napping.
I did see Alan, by the way, come through, just so we don't forget him.
Oh, Alan came. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. I'm swiping through on my phone. Looking at questions.
We're chatterboxes. Sorry.
All right. So this comes from Shally 1964 again. Ed, are you able to sleep normally in a bed, or do you have to sleep sitting up? Oh, hold on. And yes, I'm taking care of myself too. That was the end of the thing.
Oh,
Make
yes.
sure to take care of me.
Always. Yes, I am. We basically got rid of our closet. We have one of our closets.
So in Florida, houses are oversized ridiculously. So our master bedroom has 2 walk-in closets. One of them is kind of a small, narrow closet. And Ed had the idea to take one of our sectional sofas that we can break apart and put it in there to make a bed for him that he can bulk up pillows against. So he is sleeping in the sectional closet, or in the walk-in closet right now.
Oh yeah, it's not the most majestic place to be.
But you're in the same room.
But I'm in a quiet little closet, and honestly, that's less stimulus, and that's fine. It's not like I'm not like in like Harry Potter's cabin.
I was just gonna say the neighbors across the street are gonna start calling you.
I have enough space, but I don't need much. We're very fortunate that the bed we have, we have a couple of beds, but this it's called a sectional basically, and you can move it in any direction and move it around. And so we were able to turn it into a
bed. It's like a modular sofa.
Yeah,
There's the seat and the back and everything is separate, so we can build it into whatever we want.
Yeah, by the way, it's pretty awesome. So
yeah.
Just,
Oh, Jennifer again, when you were talking about eating before. Phew, so there's nothing you'd be upset to lose. She'd be devastated if she tried to eat Oreos and didn't like them.
Oh no, Oreos were one of the first things we had. We had the Oreo,
we have the Oreo things in the house.
Yeah, no, believe me.
Erica's Insights was letting us know.
I might make sure we definitely get to.
All right, I'll jump down.
Yeah.
So her son.
He's in another country, so.
Her son was a preemie born at 25 weeks and weighed 1 pound 12 ounces. Now he's 12, but she advocates for him so much.
Yep, always.
Oh, yep, there's Alan, hi from Scotland.
The advocates are the people who you need to look for.
Kaylee just chimed in from across the street. My neighbor is Harry Potter. So Alan wants to know, have you been having seizures at all? And why do you feel the need to sleep away from me? I'll answer the second part. You can answer the first part.
Okay.
So have you been having seizures at all?
I've not had any seizures. We were fortunate. The first rounds that they gave us before we even started the 2 weeks were preventative. because at least here in the States, or at least in Florida,
Yes.
if you have a seizure, you have to wait 6 months. I had not had any seizures that we know of.
You had no symptoms
Right.
of the tumor.
And so we were very fortunate with that. And now I'm on a whole bunch of anti-seizure medicine for a little while. Probably because of this. But we did not have any symptoms for seizures. So this is right now preventative.
Yep.
Thank God. So that's one thing.
So just to answer that, Alan, so they're not expecting seizures. So now that the surgery's over, he's on all the seizure meds to prevent them
Yes.
post-op, but there never were any and there never were symptoms. As for the second part of his question, why do you feel the need to sleep away from Jason?
Yeah,
it's
that's
too
tough.
We have another fun one here. Let me just take care of this. Hi, do you...
Do it later, just leave it.
Hate speech.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So the second part of the question was, why do we sleep apart? One reason for it is our dogs are going to be home soon. They're still boarded.
Yeah.
And they do, because someone let them in the bed once. They now sleep in the bed very often. Ed is worried about them jumping in the bed and startling him. The reason he's away from me, even when the dogs aren't here, is neither of us are, I think, restful sleepers, and I'm afraid to hit him in the face. Because I've done
Yeah.
it. I've done it before he had the surgery.
Not hit me.
Yeah, but like roll over
Yeah.
and just smack you in the face.
Yeah.
So the last thing I need to do is hit you while we're sleeping.
Yeah, I think right now, because we are lucky enough that it's a very small space, I can see the corner of the bedroom kind of where you are. So I'd love to be able to share a bed with you, but I look more forward to 2 weeks from now or even a month from now where we can actually just share a bed and not be afraid that if he hurts me, I'm going to hurt myself. I'll take it. I mean, the only thing I think is hard is I think it's noticing now is medications are, some of them are kind of becoming acclimated to. And so we're going to have a few times where I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's so frustrating, and apologize, but I have to run to the men's room. Well, now I got to wake him up, and like, it's this whole thing. And it's like, I'm chugging water because of all the medication. So those little things I think are annoying because no one's sleeping, including you. Like, I would never do it because I know what Jason's like when you have to be a caregiver, but I feel bad because I'm like, I could probably just go to the bathroom and sneak back in and you never would have known you would have slept, but I wouldn't do it because we promised not to. So those are those little things that's, oh, sorry.
I have to interject. Oh, Karen chimed back in. Okay. Someone thought I blocked Karen by accident.
Oh.
If I did, Karen, I'm sorry.
It goes very fast.
It's going fast.
I would ignore it till the end, personally.
They're bad. I have to remove them during this chat. So I just...
Negative people are always going to do it. Just leave them.
But they're just nasty, so I didn't want anyone else to see it. So Britt, Practically Perfect Park Hopping, I just made you a moderator if you can keep an eye too for us. Thank you. If you can.
Or not.
Or not, whatever. I'll delete them later. So
angry people have nothing on a brain tumor on me. Believe me, that's nothing.
Alan says, that's great, understandable for preventative. Oh my God, not thrashing. So
No, nothing, and nothing's
nothing
scary.
like that.
No, and we're, I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, and Alan just said he just got home from seeing The Lion King, so if we answered these questions already, he apologizes.
We have not seen it, which is kind of funny.
Yep. And actually, Alan, we answered your Instagram question right back at the beginning, so I'll touch on it again.
Yeah, please.
They treat all of these primary brain tumors as cancer now because they would have progressed to the advanced cancers. So it's caught early, but they remove it. It was a total or near total resection in Ed's case, and he will probably still do radiation and chemo at some point because they historically progressed into cancers. So when you get to rewatch this, yours was the first question we answered because we wanted to make sure to not keep you up.
Yeah, and yeah. But that is through people who have unfortunately lost their lives from this. And a few years ago, we didn't know that. We thought this was something that you could wait 10 years maybe and see if it ever got worse. Because of people like that, we're catching it earlier. And so just thank you from our hearts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I blocked Donna by accident before.
Oh, stop. No more blocking.
Britt's in charge now. Sorry, the phone is hard to do.
He's not that great on phones.
Sorry, Donna. Donna asked. I asked about sutures and when they're coming out. So I don't think they're dissolvable, and someone else asked that too. Oh, Alan did. I think when you go for your 2-week follow-up, they're going to remove whatever staples are left in and remove the sutures as well.
1 or 2 have come out.
They just fell out. Not the sutures, the staples that were holding the bandage.
And also, it almost seemed like the way they talk about it was that he likes to be laser suture crazy and just do as many as he can. Because, he probably knows a few just are going to come out, just from laying down and whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are able to tell when I did the video yesterday. So Ed had the Telfa bandage that went over the sutures and they stapled that in. So
Yeah, you'll see like this really weird
You can see those dots,
glob.
It's leftover bandage that's in the staple.
They're not scared. I think it's disgusting, but whatever.
But I had to cut around all of them for like an hour yesterday. We sat in the bathroom, me with scissors.
Just one more thing that you should have to take care of.
So far on the list we have for me to talk about in caregiving.
No.
10 medications, cutting around staples.
Yeah,
We'll get through it. All right.
I want to make sure that we didn't miss anybody when we were not responding to.
Well, everyone's commenting how rude it is that the comments are coming in interrupting.
Oh, I don't care. I don't know it.
Interrupting such a relevant conversation. So thank you for that support.
Their energy is not. Look, really quickly, I just want to leave it here, and then maybe we'll go do it retroactively if I can. Their energy is nothing compared to the energy that we have.
Yep. But it's interrupting the chat that everyone's having here.
Those people are not. They're not doing well with life. And maybe they're dealing things that we don't know. Mm-hmm. So just leave them be.
Yep. But it's interrupting.
We'll go retroactively.
People are chatting here too. Yep. So, all right. Jennifer said she was shocked at how little hair they shaved off. I would like to touch on this one because I also have to put bacitracin ointment on the sutures twice a day.
I don't think you can see much.
I can pick up the phone and go around you too.
No, I'm going to do this.
Okay, there you go.
If you can see.
Yep. So the sutures, I'm going to go in front of you here, run from here. And even though they shaved his head all the way down to here, they end up here a little bit. We're out of the camera. But so you can turn back now. So I have to put bacitracin on that. But the problem is they didn't cut his hair like a barber, so there's no fade.
No, there's no nice haircut.
His hair from the one side flops over the whole suture.
Although, when we're ready, that's another thing we're doing. We have the best barber ever near us, so I can't wait to treat ourselves.
I mean, do you want to give him a shout out here?
No. All right. Believe me, you want a good barber shop in the Orlando area?
Send us a private message. We'll give you the info.
The best in my whole adult life. They're just proper.
Jennifer says instant comb over.
Yeah,
but it's in the way of me putting the ointment. And it falls and gets goopy and
if that's all it is they have an ugly haircut, that's fine.
Also, she's right. It's instant comb over. Before you know it, you won't see.
Yeah, you won't know. Nah.
All right, my father wants to know how I'm doing physically being a caregiver. Thanks, Dad. Fine, because I've had too much practice. I think the hardest thing for me right now is, particularly when you wake me up from a sleep, because I don't have to help Ed get out of bed and go to the bathroom or anything, but I have to have eyes on him in case he gets dizzy. Yeah. So when he does wake me up, it hasn't been much in the middle of the night, but mostly the first thing in the morning. I'm asleep when he wakes me up sometimes. And that interruption is interrupting my sleep. Yeah. But I'm trying to take naps when I need them when you go to lay down. Ish, yeah.
I'd love him to nap more because I know how much he really needs it. But there's, unfortunately, again, kind of comes back around that things have to be done. Mm-hmm.
But you guys see, this doesn't require a lot of care except for the physical limitations right now.
Oh.
He's even walking to the fridge and getting himself water as long as I have eyes on you.
Stand with me, but yeah.
But I can be in the other room pouring his meds because fortunately for open floor plans, you can go to the fridge and I'm there if I see you start to waver or if you say the ow with the throbbing.
Just tell Jennifer she jumped off if she already did.
Okay. Thanks, Jennifer. Have a good night.
Nope. Jennifer.
What? I said Jennifer.
I said Kimmler.
Making up names.
Made sense to me.
All right.
What were we saying?
So I was just talking about physically, the only thing that's really bugging me is this interrupted sleep, when you startle me awake.
Yeah, you can't even get a couple. It's probably about a couple of hours, which is about having a baby. It's every few hours you're awake with something, or
so. Also,
worse.
Kudos to parents.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing that was bothering me physically is we talked about this in the last video, I think too. It's really hard to watch you get mad at me over stupid things, like when the scents and the sounds were getting to you, because let me be real, Ed was mean, but he wasn't being mean to me. He was being mean about the situation because it was stressing your brain out. But at the same time as I'm being hurt, I'm also standing there. I'm so glad you're here yelling at me. So it's a weird position to put yourself in that I think, like I said, with the psychiatric background of my mother, I learned that sometimes having the person being angry at you they're still here, which is good. But that
And
takes
it's not
a
like
toll.
aggressive. I'm not aggressive
No.
or destructive or anything. It's just I'm irritable, but I'm also irritable because A, I feel crummy, like if you would just you felt sick. B, I feel crummy because it's a lot. No one's sleeping. No one, it's like it is like having a baby.
But it's
no
gotten
one's
better.
sleeping.
Every night's been better.
Yeah,
too.
we're staying longer and falling back asleep.
Like today was last night was a great night's
Yeah.
sleep because we got up. You got up at 2, but we had.
I have no idea what day and time it is.
But we were watching a movie, or we were watching, great show, Gordon Ramsay Uncharted.
Oh, that's a
Go
good one.
watch it. But we were watching that last night, sitting out here having dessert, having like stuff to drink, not alcohol, but just like beverages.
I wish.
So we went to bed and we both had to go to the bathroom at 2, so I'm glad you woke me up. But then even when we got up at 6, which is our normal time, we did your meds quick and went back to bed. So that was good. I love that everyone's chatting behind the scenes here. Virginia Carr says, make sure you keep where the staples are moist because it'll make them easier when they take them out. Oddly, they are like the flimsiest staples, but they're curved under your scalp, which helps them hold in. But when you pulled that one out in the shower and I touched it, I'm like, it's super flimsy. But yes, that's why I have to put the bacitracin on twice a day. It's obviously antibiotic, but it also has that, petroleum-ness to it.
Yeah.
That's keeping...
And sometimes that's the stuff I want the most because it's so greasy and disgusting. I understand why it's there, but you just want it off. Like you want your hair to feel like your hair.
No, it feels like greasy, nasty.
Yeah, it's just nasty. It's nasty.
Also, every time I talk about your wound, I always point to this side of my head. I wonder if it's because I'm right-handed and I'm just like, I don't know.
Maybe.
Alan says, if it's frustrating for you, give it a week and the things you're talking about will be a non-issue.
100%. That has already been today. There are already things it's like, we did that
So
already.
can I tell you, you thought we might do this live stream for 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Do you see how long it is? Can you see that in the corner?
Sorry, everybody.
Well, no, but how long you've been going?
Yeah.
We're almost at the hour mark.
Yeah.
So, all right. Susan Thurman says to me, it's human nature. Hurt people will hurt, or hurt people hurt. It will get better. Oh yeah, I know that. And that's why I just stand there and I let him, because for him, you're also getting rid of that pain through yelling. Whatever it was, or not yelling, you don't yell, you continue. So the stimulus that was hurting you, it was coming out through your mouth at that point to get rid of the pain. And then we're really good about, we're just going to take space and I'm going to come back in a few minutes or you're going to come back.
Yeah.
So fortunately, we've been able to separate when things get, tense for you or me. And we come back together because we know that's important because we have to take care of each other and send each other away at times.
It's, again, that's just one more thing that you shouldn't have to deal with as the caregiver. You should get to be the sweet doting person. That's just not the way things work. I'm not, by the way, I don't think we've been, I haven't been mean.
No,
irritable.
Not even irritable. Very specific things. Like,
the
example the other day was I used Clorox wipes out here that you had left on the counter from cleaning before we went to the surgery. You've used them. And when you came out here, the smell was enough to, because again, it was day 1 or day 2.
Yeah.
And it was too much stimulus for you. And I can understand how
The
overwhelming
smell
it is.
was horrible.
Have a good night, Alan. Thank you for joining us.
so much.
And thank you for the support through all of this. It means a lot.
We're almost an hour. So
We're going to wrap up here shortly. If anyone has any last minute questions, like I said, we're going to continue with the videos. We're going to talk about caregiving because right now we're not traveling. So this is our travel right now. This is our journey. This is our adventure.
Lucky us.
And we're already thinking about where the first trip's going to be. So we're working on that after all this.
Probably survival first.
Surviving first. That's our journey now. And then we'll go from there. Everyone's loving the positivity.
Great.
Sending
Everybody
Disney
you're
love.
reaching out to, those are also your people.
Jamie has a question through my father. Are you able to write with pen and paper? We've not tried yet.
I have not tried. I actually don't think I picked up a pen, which is funny how fast things have changed. Typing is difficult for me, but easier than, what would you say the hierarchy is kind of? I can listen easiest.
So when Ed's on a phone call where there's no visual stuff, your phone calls are perfect. Like even right now.
Pretty close.
So, and then when it comes to doing our videos, you were staring at the view screen of the camera to focus on yourself and talk. Today you're staring at the screen of the phone, but you're doing better with the messages popping in.
But I can't read those. Those go
are
so
too
fast,
fast.
I can't read them.
And then I would say your texting has been getting better because I know what you're trying to say a lot of the time when you text me. I get it. Your sister gets it. But sometimes it is a little gibberish. It's been much better. Even my father can probably chime in. Your text to him if it makes more sense.
And you're always going to be your hardest.
I will say
critic.
your reading might not be better, but your word recognition, like when you're watching TV and things come up, is better. We haven't tried reading again in a while because you've been stressed. But when I isolate you to reading one thing that's static, you're doing better. So it's coming back slowly, and whether or not it needs therapy after that, we'll wait to see. And then let's see if there's any other questions at the end here. Oh yeah. Tom says, don't forget that was major surgery, just performed recently. Give it time. You're doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, we are.
Yep. Donna.
Oh yeah, Donna.
Your best friend's mother. So proud of you guys, and your speech is getting so much quicker.
Good, thank you.
I mean, Britt loves us, but we already knew Britt loves us.
I don't know that sometimes I forget that I even have it, to be honest. I forget that I have a speech issue.
And that's the best.
Which is great. Until I try to like watch certain things. Like I'm kind of a political junkie, but like, even like MSNBC, and I'll understand parts of it, and then I'm like, what in the heck are they talking
Sometimes
about?
the speed and the missing context gets you.
Yeah, well, because they don't always speak in clear speech, in full sentences. They give, what's the best way you would turn it?
Well, I would say the biggest thing for you is the banter. When they're going back and forth. And, yeah.
Too many people, I get confused, which is okay. I just let it be. Just kind of ride it out and say, all right, I'll pick up chunks of this, which, it's fine.
So I'm going to close with this thought for you, because I want you to recognize this.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this, when we were setting everything up, you said, I can't hear everyone. And then slowly as we got rolling, you realized the comments come through on the screen here. You're learning context of your world again. Even though things are familiar, you forgot a little bit about how they work. So you're getting more comfortable in your surroundings every day. This morning, we took a walk outside longer than you've taken before.
It's like a 5-minute
But it was
walk,
further. We've only been going to the mailbox.
Hey.
First you were only going to the front door. We've asked the surgeon.
That was scary.
We've asked the surgeon if you can get in the car to go for like a ride to our clubhouse here at our community. So you're pushing your limits to go further and further, which means you're doing more, which means your mistakes are more, but it's because you're doing more. So I want you to realize you are doing so much better than you realize. And everyone, the messages have been coming in on every video confirming that. It's not just me telling you that.
Well, that's good.
So
it was what I did. So you're gonna hold it. You be as strict as you can on this. When all you do is teach reading for a decade, you're really gonna hold high standards. So
And last message, Josh from Practically Perfect Park Hopping, who's at a wedding, says, literally shooting a wedding, but I concur with Britt. So whatever she said. Okay. So Britt, start saying some things that you want Josh to concur with.
Yeah, I mean, I think main thing is, as we're closing up here, just thank you again. Everyone gave a lot of time here, and it's 5 minutes or an hour, wherever you were. It wasn't just for me. That's part of it, but really, it's Jason. It's Jason who does this. And it's not just Jason. It's literally the people who will do different parts in your life will be there when you need them if you let them, but only if you let them. That's it. I mean, you have to let people help you when you can help them, and just let them do what they can. And sometimes you just need something to literally take 2 seconds so he can go outside and just see another person or
go
make
see
a phone
humans.
call. Yeah, because that's what you need.
Yep. So I guess we're going to do kind of a usual sign off because you're back to yourself.
Well,
I mean, everyone, make sure you give a thumbs up before you sign off.
yeah, that helps.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if anyone that you know of that wanted to join this live stream that couldn't, obviously it'll be available on our channel. So make sure to share, to share that link with everybody. I stole your part. So let me back up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon for every time we upload an update video.
I don't know my part.
You know your part.
Share the link with your friends and family, because truly now, if you share this with someone, you may help them.
You may make a
actually
difference.
save someone's day, life. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's that wild.
If there's one thing we learned through putting our journey out here for all of you is so many people suffer just not in silence, but do it on their own because they think they're strong enough.
Yep.
There is a community that supported us through it.
Yep.
All of you, our
They're out there for
Instagram,
you.
our Facebook, they're out there.
They're out there.
Excuse me, I'm drinking soda. They're out there for us. So make sure they're out there for you too. Share with your friends. They know that other people are there.
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Your people are out there.
So-
Always. You always have people out there.
So thank you. We will make sure this gets posted to the website if it doesn't automatically happen to our YouTube channel. And we will share that link on Instagram and Facebook and everything too once it's live. Thank you everyone for Ed. You made it an hour.
Hey.
You woke up thinking you wouldn't
now
make it
I
5
can nap
minutes.
soon.
How about dinner?
Oh, maybe.
We don't miss out on eating.
We'll get there. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We love you. Truly.
Love you guys.
This means a lot.
Yes. Have a good night.
Good night.